Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to get the data analysis tool pack in Microsoft Excel loaded, and then hopefully I'll be able to show you how to create a histogram with some advanced statistics using that data analysis tool pack. First of all, you're going to notice that if you come up to the data tab on Microsoft Excel, and by the way I have some data in here already, if you go up to the data tab and you look to the far right, you'll know if you have the data analysis tool pack loaded because it'll show up right here. I do not have it loaded at this point in time, so I need to go do that. Many of you that are doing PLTW IED for the first time, you'll need to load this in, and you'll have to have kids load this in on their computer as well. It's very simple. In order to do it, you're going to go to File, and you're going to click on Options down here. It's going to pull up a window with all of the Excel options. The one that we are interested in is an add-in, so we're going to click on the add-in menu. And when I do that, I'm going to see a list of available add-ins to work with, one of which is the Analysis Tool Pack. So in order to get it loaded, what I need to come down here and say I need to manage Excel add-ins, I'm going to click on Go. It's going to pull up this little screen. I want to check in the box that says Analysis Tool Pack, and I'm going to click OK. Now you'll notice in the Data tab, all of a sudden I have a data analysis tool pack in place. So in order to use this, it's very simple. I'm going to highlight column B. These are the ACT scores. If you watched my video on Google Sheets and how easy it was to do mean, median, mode, that kind of stuff, I'll show you how to do this too. Either one of these is an option. Don't really care what you use. It's not really that important. What we're really interested in is, things like, is this normally distributed data? But I highlighted all of column B by clicking on the B label at the top, and then I'm going to go to data analysis. Okay, what I want to create is a histogram. And in this particular class, that's all we're going to use this data analysis tool pack for. You can see there's a lot of stuff here that you can do. You guys that are going through and getting your doctorates or something like that, there's some stuff in here you may want to take a look at that may help you with your program. But for now, histogram. I'm going to click OK. The input range, I missed a step. It's been a while since I've used this. The input range is where do I want to get my data values from? You can come over here. This is actually a little spreadsheet with a red arrow on it. If you look really closely, that's what that icon is. If you click on that, it brings up selection tool. And in this case, we're interested in graphing this data. Come over here. I say I'm ready to go back. Click. You can see it says column B through column B. Now it does have dollar signs. The reason the dollar signs are there is because then it locks the dollar sign in Microsoft Excel, locks that input range into place. It cannot move in case I move my histogram around. It's not going to drag around where I'm looking for my data at the same time. Now, one thing I neglected to mention, so I'm going to have to back out of this for a second. We need to do something else in setup first. Okay, so I'm going to click cancel. We need to set up what are called bins. In the previous video, Google Sheets called these buckets. It's the same idea. It tells me what do I want my groupings to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to type in it doesn't matter where. I'm going to type in a list of bins. And the bins that I'm interested in using will be the starting points for each of my groups. So for instance, maybe I want to start with an ACT score of 8, and then I want to go to 10, and then I want to go to 12, 14, so on and so forth, right? All the way up through the highest score, which is going to be a 34, I guess, anything above 34. But really, we could probably stop. I retract that statement. Let's just go all the way to the top, okay? Here are my bins. I'm going to come over here. I'm going by twos. I'm going to highlight this pattern. Then I'm going to come to the bottom right corner. I'm going to grab this. This is called a fill cursor, that special little black plus symbol. I'm going to grab it, click on it, and drag it down. So you see that I get all the way to 36. That way I don't have to type in everything by myself. So what I have here are bins, groupings. Everything that what's going to do in just a second, it's going to say everything that goes between 8 and 10. So that's 8 all the way up to 9.99 will get placed in one bin. 10 to 11.99 placed in the next bin. So in other words, all my ACT scores, because they're all whole numbers of 8 and 9 will be here. 10 and 11 will be in this bin. 12 and 13 will be in this bin. You can see I'm pairing them up. I'm grouping them by twos. Now, let's go back to the data analysis tool pack. Again, a histogram. Click OK. My input range. Click here. I want to graph these scores. Go back to your selection tool. The bin range, I'm going to click here. I'm going to say that I want these bins. I do have labels. I have titles of ACT score and bins. I want Excel to understand that that's the case. So I'm going to check on this box. If you didn't have a title up at the top, you would leave that unchecked. Whenever I graph the histogram, what I want to know is where to put the histogram. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm just going to say, instead of creating an entirely new worksheet, which would mean creating a new tab, I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to select an output range. I'm going to click here. I'm going to say, you know what, just start graphing the data like right here. That would be fine. G1 is it's going to be the top left corner of everything that I put in. Click OK. If you want any of this stuff, you can, but I definitely want to make sure that I chart the output. In other words, go ahead and create a chart of a histogram for me. I'm ready to click OK. And you're going to see here that it tells me then all sorts of stuff like this. Bins. How many people scored? Actually, it looks like it goes lower. So how many people scored an 8 or lower? 0. How many people scored a 9 or a 10? Because an 8 would be in this bin. 9 or a 10. So I apologize. I messed that up. It's everything that scored that value or lower down to the next bin. But we can see here we have a histogram. It does indeed look like a bell curve, very similar to the one in the Google Sheets video. There's our bell shape, and I can see how many people scored in each one of these categories. So that's pretty slick. That's an easy way to figure out some of the data that you want. Okay. One of the things I could have done, go back to data analysis, my histogram, still has the stuff here. If I want to change any of these options, you can. You can play around with these and figure out what they actually mean. May be interesting to you. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel for now. What I'm going to do is one other thing down here below. I just need to pick a spot. It doesn't really matter where for any of this. You know, it's easy to get this thing starting to junk up a little bit with too much information. But down here, maybe about right here, I'm going to add in some descriptive statistics. So I'm going to go back to the data analysis Toolpak. I'm going to choose descriptive statistics. I'm going to click OK. The input range that I'm interested in, again, column B. I do have a label in the first row. My output range is going to be this cell down here that I've highlighted. Again, I'm just placing it out of the way. What I'm interested in are things like summary statistics, right? Maybe the confidence level for the mean. I don't know. Let's just take those two. Let's put them on. When you click OK, what you're going to notice, it shows up with, aha, look at all this stuff here. I'm going to highlight every cell here real quick. This is not necessary, but just for formatting. I'm going to double click between any two columns, between B and C or between F and G, doesn't matter. But when I double click, everything kind of resizes so I can see it. Now I also have mean, error, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, kurtosis, all kinds of stuff here, min and max and range, things that it does for me so I don't have to do the formulas by hand. Hopefully this makes sense. This is an 8.5-minute video, so it's time to wrap it up here. Your method that you choose in class, whether you use Google Sheets, whether you use Excel, totally up to you. Pick something that you understand that works for you. Have fun.